Please, a big round of applause for Maya.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? Wow. The truth is, I'm really nervous, so please be easy on me. OK, so yes, welcome to my talk. So today, actually, it's not about accessibility. I'm going to talk about Beyonce. Can you play a song, Beyonce, please? Nah, just kidding. No, actually, we're going to talk about media accessibility, in which Beyonce is part of it. It's a very important part. Why is that? Recently, Beyonce company, if you read the news, her company was sued over web accessibility for visually impaired users. It's a big deal. The lawsuits involved that her company didn't provide enough accessibility for blind user or any color sign user. This is not rare, actually. This is a trend recently, and the reason behind it is because in the world at the moment, according to World Health Organization, there was at least 17% of the world population have some sort of visual impairments. It can be from low vision, different type of low vision. Even with glasses, it's considered low vision. And a different type of color blindness, and of course, blindness. And a lot of countries, understanding this, have make it legally requirements for websites to provide accessibility for these users, because navigating the web is challenging, especially for this type of user. In US, we saw an increase of about 200% per year since 2015 until 2018 for total lawsuits against web accessibility. That's not a small number, and it's still increasing. In e-commerce, it hit Target the hardest. Target, if anyone didn't know, is one of the biggest retailer in US, and they have to pay like 10 million US dollar just for not paying enough attention for web accessibility. So yeah, this can happen to anyone. So what other actions can we do in order to addressing this challenge? What can we do in order to make sure that all our users can access our web application? That's why you are here, and I'm here to share with you my experience in dealing with media accessibility in Cloudinary at daily basis. Yeah, well, I know you're thinking it's not A11Y, it's M16Y. That's the term that we thought of. And today we'll talk especially about media and color. So let's start. But before that, I would like to introduce about myself. OK, my name is Maya, as you already see my name there. And I'm a senior front-end developer at Cloudinary. And of course, Of course, I'm available on social media. In case you have a question, just tweet me, but please, I like nice stuff, so please please be easy on me. Thanks. And today we will discuss first, what is media accessibility, and what are the challenges that we have from the current challenges we have for accessibility, and in particular media accessibility. And what are the different techniques can we use in order to address this problem? No, actually not a problem. It's more like to address the challenges that user is currently facing, and make sure that our web app will be accessible for almost everyone or everyone. OK. But first, we will talk about what is accessibility in general. Accessibility, especially media accessibility, is what you see, what the users see in your app, what can they understand from that, and how will users be able to use your app after they understand and they see it. It's not about disabled users, like most people think. It's actually about everyone, including me and you. And understanding that, we need to remember, keep in mind that three are very important elements when we do application design. The first thing is color usage. How do we select color? How do we combine different colors to make our app stand out for user, but still accessible? How do we combine between text and background images? And lastly, how would we design the elements, like Bootstrap, Beautify, of course. How we design all the elements in order for user to understand what they're seeing, how they can use it. What they see and what they actually can use with this button, for example. Okay, for each of these, there's certain challenge that is actually not certain, but it's a lot of challenge. Now, because of this section, I will just talk about some of the challenge, the more common challenge, and then we will talk about how to solve them. The first challenge is photophobia. And I know you're thinking it's not the problem with people taking photos. It's not about people taking selfie like James just now. It's actually about light sensitivity. Light sensitivity is pretty common nowadays. It's about user not being able to see the text or concentrate for a long time. Any one of you still using a code editor in Lightroom? Oh, okay, you're great. Because I cannot. The moment I go back, I'll go black, I cannot go back. Okay. So yeah, this is a very common problem nowadays because almost everyone have it. Actually, people, especially for people that have to deal with devices like us, like computer like us, but because we're surrounded by device nowadays, so it's always there, some sort of. That's why if you see in Apple device or Android device, I believe that they have a night shift mode. So in the nighttime, you can actually change to the night shift mode in order for you to see it better. Or Kindle. They are very famous for their unique lighting system. It's amazing. I use Kindle to read, and it's never failed me. So the next problem is contrast sensitivity. What is contrast sensitivity is the problem of user cannot really see the text on the background. For example, the white text on the light background, like this one, or black text on the dark background like this one. I will really respect you if you can read this. But I can't. By the way, I make this one, so anyone wants a recipe, please do. Okay, so that's a very common problem, but not everyone knows how to do it, how to solve it. And one very good bad example is this website. I found it on the internet randomly. It's the University of Advancing Technology. And like you say, anyone can read the text, what is written here, on the picture itself. Because I personally cannot. The contract is really bad. But you can, okay, maybe just me. Okay, so that is the problem, the very common problem about sensitivity for low vision. So what about other type of visual impairments? Let's see. The next example we have is this photo. Well, and there's nothing wrong with it. The color is gray. It's just about apples, green and red apples. However, there's a certain type of user. There's a certain group of users. All they can see is like this. They cannot really see green and red. It's a challenge because because they have this difficulty in recognition where it's red and where it's green. We call it deuteranopia. Or simple way, because the English word is really hard to pronounce, but it's the simple way is the red and green color blindness. So in this example, it's really hard to know where the green and where the red. You can literally differentiate because the red is a little bit darker, but you can never be sure. It's happening in grabs a lot. And similarly, in this one, can you guys tell me how many spices do we have here? Okay. Actually, similar. All of them are different, but the second group of users that cannot even see that they cannot see the difference between these spices because they have the next problem. Sorry, the next challenge called tritonopia. Is the color blindness that they cannot differentiate between blue and green and yellow and violet. So if you give a lot of shirts that have these colors together, they will never know. That's the different. That's a different color. So yeah, this is some challenge that we need facing when so they can go to the website and they cannot understand which button is arrow button or dangerous button. It's super hard. What about the next one? This is interesting. Can anyone tell me? We have a game here. Can anyone tell me which of these three colors are different? This one? Or this one? Or this one? Okay. The truth is, all of them are different colors. Exactly this is how the user with achromatopsia is seen. They cannot see color. Like with them, there's only grayscale. No red, no green, nothing. And that makes the e-commerce experience is terrible. Just think about you go online shopping and you see the shirt. Can you really see how you're going to buy it if you don't know the color? So in this case, images cannot tell you 1,000 words anymore. It doesn't mean it anymore. And the next and the last challenge we're going to talk about is this. Can anyone see the text here? No? You sure? You sure? So you probably have some sort of impairments here. No, everything is fine. Actually, this is exactly what blind users are seeing. It's right. They cannot see anything. So how do we address these challenges? What can we do to help these users able to navigate the web? Before we talk about it, I would like to show you a video about a company called Allcam in Israel. Okay, I hope it works.
Text reading. The roses growing on it were white, but there were 3 garden. Face recognition. Jane. Product identification. Oatmeal squares cinnamon. The time is 6:13 p.m.
Okay, this is a very innovative product that was produced by Allcam, the Israel company for blind user. So it's help AI, it's help user to actually give you the description of the item you read. But we as developers don't need this innovative product. Because simply, user cannot wait for us to think of something innovative like this in order to navigate the web. Everything is moving so forward, so fast. If they go into wait for us, they will be left out. And I'm sure we know that for our responsibility, we are the front-end developer. We're supposed to think of a better way, a simple way, to provide accessibility for user regardless. And so let's talk about what we can do. Oops, sorry. For the first problem, for the first challenge, light sensitivity, it's the easiest way to solve, which a lot of companies have been adapting, is provide two mode. The first is light mode, and the second is dark mode. There's a lot of approach behind this using CSS. We can actually, actually build a smart algorithm to provide, to calculate the color and change it to the different color that matching in the night mode. But I found it's hard because we don't have a lot of time in developing products, and if we develop something like too complicated, it takes our time also. So I found that the easy way to do it is to use CSS filter. Have anyone heard about CSS filter? Yeah, of course, we're a developer. So you can use filter with inverted, which actually ship every colors to the exact opposite color, like this. So on the color, I zoom in, your website is built correctly with the correct color contrast. It will still reserve the contrast in the night mode. And it only needs one line of code. But there's a problem here is that the photos, if you saw on the colors, the photo also changed because it's inverted. It changed on the original color. So how do we maintain the original color? We have to, one approach is that we're going to do double invert on the exact same image. But it's tricky, because if someone in the code base going to put another filter, it's going to override. For example, I'm going to show you the code later, but yeah. For example, I want to add a picture with a brightness, something with using filter. Then somewhere along the way, someone will just add another filter, and then it just invert, and it just override, and then it becomes complex, because every time when you add a new component, you need to test it again to see that your inverted filter still works. Isn't it a better way to do it? Let's dig into the code. Okay, I'm going to do some live coding, so I hope it works. So I have, for this talk, I built a small accessibility plugin in Vue, which I can just hear the M16Y plugin, and I'm using this like normal plugin for Vue, and it will add for you the add in the app the small widget here that provide on the symbol mode for brightness, contrast, dark mode, color blind mode, grayscale that already have preset, and all you need to do is install it, and you can use for the app. You don't need to rewrite it from scratch. Of course, you can always make a new configuration. And how do I do? So let's see. In app, I have the you see, I have the photo here, and then I change the dark mode. You can see here one of the pictures is the colors is correct, but this photo the color is inverted. Why is that? Because in CSS here, I have, no, not this one. Here, I have a filter for brightness, because I'm using the banner and I want to add, to make it a little bit less bright. So add a filter, but I was not aware that someone is using a filter on invert. So it actually overrides each other. So what we do, I build another, sorry. Okay, cool. So I build another solution. You may want to hate it because I'm actually talking about Cloudinary right now. I built a small library for using our technology, Cloudinary, for manipulating the image on real time. So all I need to do is just best. As you can see here, I'm using image wrapper. It's a component I'm building together with the accessibility plugin that it takes the image and And it already have several fields like night mode and dark mode together with accessibility. So in here, when I do the dark mode, it actually preserves the color because the pictures is already modified to be inverted. Like say here, you can see it. Okay, cool. I'm afraid it's too small. So this is the photo after using Cloudinary. It's already inverted, so you can achieve double inverted using Cloudinary in CSS without extra line of code in CSS, and we don't have to check again whether this inverted going to be overwritten by anyone else. And similarly, so in the accessibility functional, I have several things, like several modes, like brightness, contrast, grayscale, night mode. And in the night mode, it will listen to whether we change it to night mode, and it will do the manipulation correct accordingly. And okay, so let's move to the next one. Sorry. And that's the solution for light sensitivity. How about contrast sensitivity? Similarly, you can achieve exactly the same thing for using CSS with modifying 3 different locations, like adding a background opacity and a font size. But this is good. But if I want to do black text on the white background, how are you going to do it? You're going to change the background color, you're going to change the opacity, maybe, and you're going to change the text. But you can achieve this with using CSS filter and CSS variable. And of course, you view component for it. And you can actually build a component for the banner if you like it. And all it does is render a banner with the text on top of it, according to what you want. But there's another way that we can do it. Like in this case, you can see here I have optimized white text, which will already render, because I'm building the plugin, so I already have the optimized white text for this component, and all it does is it actually learn about the text color, and then it will just choose the brightness accurate, like matching with the text color, and make it more like optimize the contrast. So if I want to do the opposite, like, okay, and this is a bit. Yeah, it's okay. I need to change here also. So here it's already changed back the contrast. This is the lining is like 0, like 100%. You can actually make it a little bit lighter. I just do it like 100% just for the demo, but you can play around with it. But in this case, all you need to do is change 2 places, and it automatically renders the picture according to picture and the text according to what you want. Cool. Clear? I hope. Okay, what about color blindness? This is the interesting challenge. Color blindness, unfortunately, the only way to do it is to add texture, so that it will help user to identify which one have different colors. However, it's impossible to do it by CSS. Try to do it. We can only use it with Photoshop or editor. It's hard because you need to know how to use Photoshop, or you need to pay someone to do it. And it takes another additional version of your picture on the storage. Oops. So any other way? Are we going to just give it up like this? Well, shameless promotion, Cloudinary. This is actually a feature I love the most, because I have color planet built-in. Ta-da! Do you see the texture appear on the graphs and also on the photo up there? Currently, it only adds texture for 2 different colors, like 2 different colors. So it works best if you have graphs And in the future, we will have more like texture, different like 3 different texture, not only 2. Like here, you can see this photo. Let's see. This is how it looks in with color blindness. And sorry. And if you can always what the? Okay. What? Okay, never mind. So here I have actually it's what this filter, but no, never mind. I have a simulator actually can show you how it looks in color blindness, and then you can see that the red and the green is really different because have text on it, so user can actually identify which one is different. Okay, that's. What about acrotomatosia, more difficult in colorblind? Unfortunately, we don't have any real solution for this because its texture will not going to help. In case like photo like this, it doesn't tell you what color it is in order to buy. So my recommendation is you can only use a lot of text, a lot of description like tagging and on attribute. For example, like this. You can see this is providing the description of the shirt, also the color of the shirt, and you can also add the color, another deep color, to tell the user exactly what color it is. Then user will know more or less what to not order, like not order a red shirt on a green pants, for example, and it works. Kind of also screen reader. This one also very good for blind user because blind user, the screen reader will be able to read for blind user what is this color mean. So you definitely need to remember to add that. And back to the problem with Beyonce. Did anyone remember what we're talking about in the beginning with Beyonce? So this is exactly why her company was sued over for not providing this on text. Can anyone understand what this text means? Just close your eye and think if someone tell you like 1.31.19 and what is this? It actually, I think this is uploaded number date of the picture. So yeah, that's why she got sued. And you definitely don't do that. Okay, I'm running away from the time. So, but let's wrap it up. So, in addition for this solution, I have about 5 more tips for you to enhance your accessibility in the app, which you can keep in mind for that. The first one is the color combination, like we said. Do not use similar colors that have problems together, next to each other. Try not to put, if you have to, try not to put it together, because user cannot see it. So they cannot understand it, so please think about user for one moment, that make it easier for them. The second part is text and texture. This is also, like texture on graphs is great. It tells you that grace and color is different. Additional description text is good because then even normal user will be able to understand what the error means or what the message is supposed to be. It works for everyone. If not, then people with, like, let's say, achromatosia, they cannot see the arrow, the red arrow. They will not be able to understand what they see in here. And if you cannot use text a lot because we have limited space on the web, on the page, on our app, use icon. A good icon will tell you a lot. Icon become very global. It's colorless, and it's extremely easy to install and to use. But icon need to be meaningful and stand for what it's saying. Like in this is very good example that every icon here is telling you exactly what is message about, together with the color, of course, but it's more clear this way. The bad example is don't do this. You cannot really see without the text below. You cannot really understand which one is stands for which one. Let's say, who would think that the Wi-Fi icon will be used for IT support? I don't. Okay, the next one, important, remember, use semantic markup, area. You probably heard about area, so I will not cover it today, but you definitely need to do a research for it, because it will help the screen reader to read out loud to blind user, and they will be able to understand what is your website about, also navigating-wise. Because think about it, you saw the challenge before. You cannot see anything. Think about it. So row, area, attributes, and tabs index. Oh, tab index. I heard someone told me that tab index is not good because you just tap together, and then sometimes it makes the page look weird, but you need to have it. Because some users still using tab. They don't use touch. They're using tab. And the good example is using like this, where the button is telling you that it's not disabled. The bad example is this. It's okay for screen reader. Screen reader will be able to tell you, this is the button, but don't do that. Why? Because let's say in this demo, two sides looks amazing, look great. The color look identical, but I can tell you it's not. And for some weird reason, the CSS is not loaded. And like internet connection problem, there's some problem with the CSS file. It becomes like this. It's completely different. And user, if without CSS, they won't be able to understand from the left side. Is the left side? This side, okay. What we mean, which one is the link, which one is the click, and which one the headline. Meanwhile, the one in the right side, they will still be able to understand more or less what to use. Readability, number one. You always need to remember to provide readability, even in the case that user cannot, there's no beautiful layout for that. By the way, this is how it looks for this side, and this is how it looks for this side. See the difference? Cool, ouch, I'm really late. So before we finish, we're going to go over several tools that are good for you to check accessibility. Which one is Apps? It's a great tool for checking your web apps accessibility, and it will tell you where you're doing wrong. And it's really, really great. It's like, it's DevTool, it's on the DevTool. You can install it, it's plugin, it's Chrome extension, and it's open source. The second one is Car Simulator. We don't have any accessibility tool check for color blindness. So the only thing you can do is manual check by turn on simulator, try to play around with, try to see how colorblind people see by using the tool. There's other tool also. It's not 100% accurate, but it lets you know what it is, how they feel to see the color, whether these colors are together is okay or not. The last tool is Lighthouse. Everyone heard about it, right? So yeah, definitely need to run the accessibility test for Lighthouse before you deploy. It will make sure also performance-wise, also with best practices, it will make sure that you cover. And I promise this is the last. Before we go, there's several things we need to remember. The first is we need to be intuitive, like be predictable, which means make it simple, make it that user be able to understand how to use it. Try it to someone that's the most simple person in the world, and give the app to that person to try. Use semantic. This is a must, because it's good for SEO and it's good for screen reader. Blind people rely on screen reader. Of course, a lot of description. And pay attention to the color combination. Make it easy. And then lastly, texture accessibility with ACE. And the hidden one, use my plugin. Thank you.